Hi everyone, it's Rena. I have another double slider card tutorial for you today. It is a double slider card that is actually on a 5x5 card base, and you can build your slider mechanism right on top, and I think that you'll really like this tutorial. I hope that you'll give it a try. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. If you're in my VIP group, I would love to see the projects that you make. If you're not in my VIP group, I will leave the info below so that you can join, and I will, as always, upload a PDF document with instructions on how to make this card in my VIP group as well. Thanks! This is the project that we're going to be working on today. It is a double slider card, but it's actually on a 5x5 card base, and you just pull and it slides out from top and bottom. So you have lots of space on the inside to add a sentiment, a message, and it's just like a regular card with your double slider piece right on the top. So let's get started. Okay, so you're going to need a couple of different pieces of cardstock for your base and for your slider mechanism. You're going to need a 5x10 piece for your card base. Then you're going to need a 4x4 piece, and that's going to be the top that's going to cover your slider mechanism. You're going to need two pieces that measure 4 1/4 by 2 3/4, and these are going to be your tags, whether you add your slider to come out this way or whether you add your slider to come out this way. These are going to be your little tags, and if you want to round the corners, you definitely can do that. You would just need to round corners on one side of each tag, but then you could have rounded corners coming out like this, or again like this, however you choose to set up your card. And then this piece is going to be 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and this is going to actually be the mechanism where you're going to add your plastic for your slider piece. And then you're also going to need your piece of plastic. I've cut mine at 1 3/4 by 12. You could cut it a little bit slimmer if you wanted to. It's completely up to you. You're not going to use the entire 12-inch length because we're going to be wrapping it around our base like this, just like we did with our last double slider card, and it's not going to be completely 12 inches, but I just give myself a little bit of extra just in case. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to score your card base. This is a 5x10 inch piece of cardstock, so you're just going to score at 5 inches and then fold it over, and that'll be your card base. If you want to round the corners of your tags, this is the time you would do it. Just make sure you only round one side, not both. Okay? And let's go ahead and score your card base, round your corners if you want to, and then we'll build our mechanism. Okay, so I went ahead and I have already scored my 5x10 cardstock at 5 inches, and this is going to be my card base. And then I rounded the corner on both of my tags so that when they pull out of the double slider, these edges are rounded. Whether I do it this way or whether I do it this way, the ends will be rounded. And this piece, this 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, this is not your mechanism piece. This is actually the piece that goes on top of your slider mechanism. I think I said that backwards the first time, so I want to make sure that I clarify. The 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 is the top piece that goes on top of your slider mechanism. The piece that we're going to build our slider mechanism with is our 4x4 piece. So we're going to take our 4x4 piece, and you're going to take your plastic, and just like we did the last time with our slider, our double slider card, is you're going to wrap your plastic around your 4x4 piece, and you're going to add a tiny bit of score tape just to the plastic piece. And make sure when you add your score tape that you definitely do not get it onto your cardstock. I don't have my, and I added mine just a little bit over, so let me trim that off. Okay, so then make sure that you burnish that down. And now you're going to seal up your plastic, and don't make it too terribly tight. You want to make sure that your plastic has some room for give. So when you add your, when you seal your plastic together, make sure that it's not too tight, not too loose, but not too tight. Make sure that there's a little bit of a give in there. Okay, and then you're just going to burnish that, and then you're going to trim off this excess right here because you don't need all of that extra plastic. And so you see how it has a little bit of give? That's definitely what you want. We're going to do the same thing we did last time, is we're going to move this seam to the very bottom. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add score tape down here at the bottom, just like we did last time, and we'll attach our tag, and then we'll flip it over, add score tape to the top, and then attach our tag this way. Now, I'm not going to add my designer paper this time because I just want you to see the base, but if you're going to add designer paper, if let's say you didn't use pattern paper for this and you're going to add a layer of designer paper, now is the time to add your designer paper. And so when we would be adding our designer paper, the designer paper would be facing up on this one, and on the back the designer paper would be facing down on this side. So go ahead and add your tags. You're going to add your score tape only onto your plastic. Make sure to burnish that down. And then you're going to add your card, your tag, right on top of that. And just burnish that down. So remember, the first one is your designer paper facing up, and then you flip this over, and now you're going to add your score tape to the top. And make sure you, again, only add it to the plastic. And then burnish that. Take off your backing, and now you're going to add your tag with your designer paper facing down. And if you rounded your edges, you want to make sure that they're facing out, because that is going to be the bottom pool. And then burnish. Oops. So now you have your mechanism. Now I know it looks like it probably could come up or down, and it could. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take some foam tape, or if you want to use foam squares, whatever you have. If you don't have foam squares and you wanted to use chipboard, you could definitely cut a strip of chipboard and stick it on either side. And then that's how you're going to attach it to your card base, is either through foam squares, foam tape, or little strips of chipboard, however you like to pop up your pictures or your images or your embellishments. That's basically what you're going to do at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add foam tape on this side, and on this side I'm going to add it as close to the edge as possible because I want to stay away from my mechanism. So let me go ahead and add my tape, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and I added my foam tape to the back. The last time that I added foam tape, I added a little bit of a thicker tape. I think it was double the size, and I kind of felt like my mechanism bumped up against it too much, so I went ahead and I used a thinner foam tape this time, and we'll see how that works. So now I'm just going to take off my backing. Oops. I want to make sure I took off all the tape. Backing I left a little bit on. And take it off of this one on this side also. And now this is when you decide how you want your slider mechanism to pop out. So if you want it to pop out this way, then you would stick it on your card base like this. If you'd want it to pop out this way, then you'd stick it on your card base like this. Make sure, because this has happened to me before, that you have your card facing the right way. If you have it facing this way, and you pop it on, let's say you decided to pop it on like this, it could create problems. Just make sure that your card base is facing the right way. I know right now with my paper being blank, it doesn't make very much sense, but if I had designer paper with my print facing a certain way, if I would have had my card upside down, then my print would have been mismatched. So just make sure that your card is facing the right way, and then you just take your little mechanism and you center it on your card however you want for your mechanism to come out. And I think I'm going to have mine coming out like this again. Just going to center it and then stick down my foam. I'm just going to kind of burnish it a little bit. And there's your mechanism right there. Okay, so now you're going to take your 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece, and this is going to go right on top, and this is going to cover your mechanism. And you're going to do the exact same thing we just did. You're going to add foam tape right here and right here, or foam dots or chipboard, whatever you decide that you want to use, and then you're just going to stick this right on the top. Okay, so I've added my foam tape, and I'm going to do the same thing I just did when I added the mechanism on the card base. Is I'm just going to peel up my foam tape backing, and now I am just going to add my 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece right on top. And I'm just going to center this on my card and then just burnish it a tiny bit. And now my slider is complete. And you have it on your 5x5 card. And you could of course have done your slider this way. It's completely up to you. And now you can add either your little you can punch your hole and add a little ribbon, or you could add a little tab so that you could do your pool. And I actually like the thinner foam tape now that I've done it this way, because I don't feel like there's any issues with the sliders at all. Okay, so that completes our double slider card on your 5x5 card base.